Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys, all three channels, and I think we will be cleared out of the dungeon for Evolutionary soon. And meanwhile, we've been going on EEARTS, Heartsome as well. Oops, that doesn't show the newest one. The last one before, well, we did one after the Gnosis one. And, I like to talk about the Gnostic side of things because, that ties into the actual historical side of things and what gets suppressed and what gets pushed. And still, man, there's so many people just sleepwalking in this zombie apocalypse, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's what we're here for.
Yes, for those that want to look a little deeper, talk about looking a little deeper, look at this. Yes. Oh, would you go down in there? Oh man, that's quite a hole there. And there are hundreds of these eerie, immense sinkholes appearing in Turkey. And this is from May 18th, 2020, yet they're adding to them every single day. They say it's just simply, well, it's because they're taking away too much water for farmland. There's something about this power structure that doesn't want us growing things naturally and eating natural foods. I think they, again, want to give us one wafer or one shake a day, that we won't know what it is. We'll have no clue what it is, but they'll say, don't worry, it's good for you. Here you go.
I know. Is this, they're going to provide us with the manna from heaven and definitely don't take more than your daily rations, things of that nature. And how long is that going to go on? And then I'm looking at these holes here and these they feel really bizarre. Like I'm feeling it as above, so below type of energy with these holes. It feels like there's more something in the atmosphere going on. It's just really curious. It's very unusual. I gotta think portal. I gotta think chakras. There's something going on here, more than what they say.
Well, again, I want to share there are so many legends and myths that if we take them with a literal component to it, they speak of inner earth societies that are extremely advanced. Agartha, Shambhala, Shangri-La. When you look to the Ramayana, which speaks of Rama, who's taken to be an incarnation of Vishnu. Now, if we take it in the sense that he's not really the creator of the universe in human form, but that maybe it's a being that had characteristics that the creator would be proud of, that the creator would have wanted to cultivate. Now, it says it, that he is a being that's not from the surface of Earth. He comes to the surface of Earth to help humanity. He returns into the inner Earth at the end to go back home. It's because he's from basically one of those societies that's highly advanced inside the Earth. And it's right there in the Ramayana. And the same thing with Vishnu, too. And Vishnu is thought to be another incarnation. With Krishna, I should say. Krishna is thought to be another incarnation of Vishnu. Vishnu is taken to be the preserver of the universe. And Krishna is taken to be a human incarnation. But again, where is his planet, per se? It's not here. It's somewhere else. Again, it's always been an extraterrestrial. Also, we can't forget the inner earth and the beings. Again, when we look to, Dagon and Johannes, these other fish-type beings, there's also beings that were very advanced that lived in cities in the oceans. All of the above is the answer. Again, there are demons. There are beings that we would call angels. There are also extraterrestrials, and there's inner earth beings of various densities, and there's also beings that are living under the oceans. We got a lot of things going on here, and this is part of the big reveal.
Mm-hmm. And this was fun. The massive fireball brings people to tears as it lit up the skies over Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Florida, leaving some fearing Armageddon. And these are things that they want to say, oh, it's just a fireball, it's just something that it comes into focus, it goes out of focus. But no, this is far more than that. The people, they were moved to tears because they could sense angelic force about it. They could sense something very moving, something very positive, an energy that they really can't explain in their 3D world. They could feel that. And we're all getting more and more sensitive. Whenever I come upon a being like Yeshua, Vishnu, the mothers, I always am moved to tears. And guess what? Those tears are a form of healing. So this feels like definitely an earth angel coming in to do some heavy lifting. I thought it was really a beautiful story.
Absolutely. Some of these fireballs are beings, or some are ships. There's a variety of things going on here, and yet again, the power structure wants to keep things quiet because they don't want to expose the fact that they themselves are not from here. They're not indigenous to here. But in reality, when you get down to it, neither are we. The earth is full of refugees. It's full of migrants, immigrants from many, many different places. And we have a 6.0 south of the Fiji Islands, as you see, 546 kilometers deep. So this one is a deep one that wouldn't cause any real damage, even if it was, in a more populated area. But the thing to know is this could throw 7.0 our way. Well, I should say anybody that's upstream over into Indonesia, perhaps even into the Philippines, or it could go downstream, or it could go across the plate. So we will keep our eyes open. But when you look at it, there's only 37 quakes that they're showing. Again, this has been going on for quite a while, with either hiding quakes or, the earth is holding back, and there's a lot of energy that needs to be released, and it's not being released. There was 2 4.1s in the Gulf over here, the Gulf of California off the coast of Baja. Again, Cascadia, San Andreas seem really, really locked up at this point in time. This was a crazy storm that hit Switzerland, 217 kilometers per hour winds. So obviously hurricane force winds coming into Switzerland damaged a number of buildings, and one person actually lost her life, unfortunately. That looks like a crazy storm. And meanwhile, the floods go on and on and on. In Bhutan, 6 people lost, well, that we know are lost, and 17 that are literally missing, that they're looking for. There's been a lot of flooding in this area, and flooding happens on a regular basis. And what you'll get is you will get the media saying, see, we told you, it's all because you're driving your cars. It's all because you have gas stoves. It's all because you're burning wood in that wood stove. Well, in some cases, like in this case, it was a bad decision, and releasing water ended up inundating a whole bunch of towns and sweeping away everything people owned. But you'll see is just the agenda that's well underway as we watch buffaloes being washed away in the flood waters.
Oh no, that's just so terrible. I mean, these animals must be so afraid. The people must be so afraid. And I hate seeing things like this where things that are normally a safe area is just completely devastated, because that does more to the soul than just one bad incident. When things like this happen, it sticks with you for a while, and it can stay with you, and you tend to have this feeling of, what's going to happen next. I mean, you're always walking around waiting for something to come out of the corners. This is multi-layered. This is trauma, and it's unnecessary trauma. I think that's where I get upset. It's just unnecessary.
I want to just share briefly with you guys, as I'm somebody that, as a kid, a couple of times I came close to literally drowning. And one of the things I think that is critical is building up that connection to the higher realms. And that might sound crazy when you're talking about drowning. No, I mean the guidance. Listening, learn to listen. This is part of why we do meditation. And meditation is a listening skill. And, when we do mantras, for instance, you're focusing in on one thing, so everything else kind of goes away. Everything else goes away. It's just the resonance of the sounds that you're doing with your breath. And then typically after the mantras, you sit still and you try to maintain that clarity. Try to maintain that peace of mind, because then you will have communication coming back the other way. It's just like picking up the phone and dialing, and then you're waiting. Hello, hi, how are you? It literally is like that in so many ways. So, listening to those voices, and it could be that the voice will say, no, don't swim against it, relax, go with it. And then at an opportune moment, just shoot off to the side when that time comes. Again, like with riptides and stuff, you don't want to fight against it. That's just going to burn your energy away. And maybe this will mean something to somebody. It'll stick in their mind at some point in time. Sometimes we have to go with the flow, go with the tide that's sweeping us out, and wait for the opportune moment to shoot to safety.
Mm-hmm. And when you do these practices, it helps you reach that point, that calming point in the brain faster and faster. It's like building a bridge, just like everything else in the brain. You build that bridge to find a place of peace.
Absolutely. This is quite an explosion. At least 9 injured, 2 in critical condition. Explosion at an ammunition depot. This is at Xiangfeng military base in Taiwan. As we see the streets of Taipei empty for air raid drill on Monday afternoon, simulating Chinese attack on Taiwan. Again, the world is one big powder keg, and there's also right now, I saw only one source talking about some sort of message to pull away from the front lines in Ukraine because something was happening. So I didn't include it. I'll just mention it in case there's more people that are going to be confirming that. There is, it feels like we're holding our breath to a degree, and we are in July. It's at the end of July now. I do feel like we might see more major activity and forward motion towards the end of August, but it feels like there'll be a lot more activity in the fall when it comes to the potential for expansion of, unfortunately, the war that's going on. And here you see on the first day of Taiwan's Han Kuang military base reported the serious incident. This is going back to that explosion. 2 soldiers sustained serious injuries and 5 others had minor injuries. Putin, by the way, signed into law the use of the digital ruble. So as we've been talking about CBDC and the digital dollar, and here you have on the other side of the playing field the digital ruble. I saw a comment yesterday that somebody was saying, oh, you're quoting Russian rags, Russian disinformation rags when you're talking about Sputnik and RT. Okay, so do you believe you're going to get the truth from CNN and MSNBC? Again, so many people are just so they're just so wrapped up in it that they still can't see clearly. You can, again, do this and do a search, and you're going to find everybody's talking about this. It's interesting, again, to look at how divided we are, and there's still people that just will look and say, well, Ukraine's in the right, Russia's in the wrong. And not realize, again, if you were born in Russia, you might view things differently. If you were born in Syria, if you were born in Iraq or Iran or Afghanistan, you're going to look at the U.S. and NATO most likely as truly Satan. It all depends on the conditioning that you've got. The reality is, over here, the BRICS nations are going ahead with the same thing that the NATO nations are going ahead. Because this is a global thing. And yes, the wars really happen. But at the same time, the controllers are controlling both sides. Look at the world's largest drain hole, Morning Glory Spillway. This empties water from the Monticello Dam. This is in California. Oh, that looks wild, does it not? It almost looks like it's running upwards.
It does. It looks like it's running backwards. That's a really fun illusion. That's cool.
We never went by that.
That's too bad. We should try someday.
Well, we'll see what we get a chance to do. I think there's going to be a lot of hunkering down for the foreseeable future. New Zealand will restrict the use of herbal products that people use to treat infections and maintain a healthy lifestyle. Canada, Australia, UK, and the US may follow the same course. Yeah, you know, and look at this Jamuna Das quote. They are rolling out the retail. That's so true. You know, you can go get things that are extremely harmful to you, yet you can't go get some, you know, if they're going to be restricting things like chamomile, essential oils, you know, like chamomile tea is one of the things that I like to do before bed because it does soothe the nerves. It calms. Again, we utilize herbs every single day. We don't utilize the Rockefeller School of Medicine because it's all about profits and control. And that really is. People don't understand, unfortunately. You guys do, 99.7%, because 0.03% get to see us for the first time here and there. Again, this, and they're out there. They even tell us, you know, like when you post videos, they even let you know, your viewership may be restricted. This is something they come straight out and say. I mean, it's right in MYT. Your viewership may be restricted. It is. It's always restricted. I was talking about a favorite musician, and, Cindy can pick up, and I could feel it. His heart chakra is wide open. He is somebody that actually talks openly when he's in interviews with all about meditation and yoga and mind, body, breath. And what does he get? He gets 300, 600 views, 1.2 thousand. This guy is so talented, and I'll share more about him over on Heart's Home. He's so talented. The thing is, you got to realize they don't want that type of music out there, because this type of music can really lift your spirit up. They want stuff that's going to pull you down, that will pull you down into a more primal mode.
They do. They like that. That's one thing that they're very good about doing, is pulling people down, and getting you stuck in a place where you just, you're in fear, you're in worry, you're in distress. They definitely don't want this ability to tap into the heart chakra to be for everyone. They just don't. So they do what they need to do. And they have control over all of the media. And I think anyone who thinks that they don't, or they think that this one thing slipped out, you really have to look at everything and then weigh that and say, I don't know, what. There's usually always an agenda for why they would promote something and why they would squash something. Always, always, always.
Absolutely. DC Long, U.S. Army retired, exposes secret underground military base in North Carolina. Now, you might not think North Carolina has secret bases. So, yeah, they're all over the place. Yeah, and when you talk about some of the areas over there, like the area east of Asheville, there's some, unusual goings-on over in that area. I could feel it in the Asheville area. We had all sorts of strange things happening in that area. Again, there are underground bases, there are underground societies, and truly, again, there may be some distortion out there, and there's distortions can be the reality when you have a control matrix like we have in place. But there's a lot of truths to the myths and legends. So he encountered a giant monolith that defied gravity and had an intense vibration around it with no noise, just that feel of the vibration. This is all, we have disclosure. It's already been given, and it's so blatant. Now they're rushing. Alien spaceship could have crashed on, landed on Mars. Now they're kind of admitting that, this could be some sort of track, something kind of, came to a stop, impacted. I mean, there were so many anomalies that we see now. We have to realize that we can't trust our eyes. You cannot trust your eyes. What's going on with the sky here? And something's wrong with the sky, and people really are looking up. And I'll give you guys the link. And the lady is talking and saying, "What's up with that?" And this guy says, "Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that before." Well, the reality is the sky that you've looked up at all these years is a hologram. It is hiding other planets that are close to us and literally would be in the sky if this hologram wasn't superimposed over us. It also hides, in some cases, gigantic motherships that many people can feel at certain times. Learn to use your senses. As Yoda said, feel the force.
I know, the force is a real thing.
It absolutely is. And share the love. As you see, this little guy says, I'm full. Hey, I'll share it with you. You are my friends because, you seem nice. You seem to like me. Here you go. Because again, life is all around us in many different forms. Some we can see, some we can't see, but we can sense. Some, we can't see, but we could sense. But if we work on it long enough, we'll start to see the energy patterns. And, really, truly, I was in the dark for so many years before I really have been blessed with being able to work with the best partner anybody could ever ask for. And, she has helped me to see things so much more clearly. I saw my guides. I woke up and saw them at different times as pillars of light. Actually, those ice crystal formations are pretty similar. What they give us these terms for, red sprites and things, it's just a red sprite. Well, at one point in time, a sprite was an elemental, and now it's given to, have you ever noticed that? All of our myths and legends, they like to reuse those labels and give it a scientific thing, a scientific name and explanation. Well, the myths and legends are much closer to the truth than the science is. So I would see my guides in the middle of the night, and I would see swirling energies like those lava lamps. Now I do every night. And I do it anytime I do mantras, because when I'm doing the mantras, I'm calling the guides in. And how do I know they're not demons? Well, originally, again, demon comes from daemon, which means, it's basically a benevolent, was the original translation, a benevolent nature spirit that could bestow blessings on you. This is how the dark side has gotten us afraid of those that are good, and they got us thinking they're good. Isn't it hilarious and tragic at the same time that humanity believes Satan is God and God is Satan? Because again, that's exactly how they've looped us into this. And still we see so many people that just don't understand. They just don't understand how everything is inverse, distorted, upside down. This is what we're talking about. You can't buy a natural herb that's going to help you sleep, that's going to maybe lower blood pressure, that's going to maybe, because it's not going to have any negative side effects, but you can go get something that is going to rot your soul, and it's legal. This is how insane the system is.
Mm-hmm. And it's insanely Well, they put it out there for themselves, and everything that they do put out there is for their own self-service. And if it's not going to serve them, well, they're not going to let you have it. So I think we're just going to have to find different ways to get those medicinal things that we need. There's so many, the medicinal flowers, there's so much stuff out there that's really not hard to grow. Raspberry leaves, they have a part in helping restore certain hormone balances, and we're not taught about this. There's so many things right there in your backyard, probably house plants too, that do a variety of things. Watch, they'll start outlawing house plants and flowers. In many ways they have outlawed plant medicine that could be, if used right, beneficial for humans. But it's what they do. It's how they roll, but we have to find a different way. And while we find a different way, helping each other stick together, sharing our knowledge, what we know, having that information that is going to give someone else a boost, because this awakening stuff, it can be really difficult business. It's not easy to walk through an awakening, and we are doing our best on this end to help people understand really what's going on. But sometimes, and I've seen it in the comments, people can't get through to their family. I understand that. They're just not ready to wake up, and that's okay. If you've done your part, move along your way, go along your path, because now this has become your path, your journey. And don't let anyone pull you down, slow you down. You can still love, you can still send out that beneficial energy to your family members and your friends, those that are still asleep, but you cannot put them on their path. That's not for you to do. It's for them, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. So we want to thank you guys, thank our Patreons as well, as we are doing unique material on Patreon. And so we have here Sonia, Stephen, Crypto, and Katronia. That's a pretty name, Katronia. And we spoke about gray and ant or grasshopper. Not sure which one is preferred.
I just thought it's fun.
I just think it's cool. So, and you guys are cool, and thank you for being part of this family. Much love. God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.